Welcome to the world of frugality, where saving money is a way of life. Have you ever wondered how some people manage to get by on a shoestring budget while others seem to have all the luxuries they desire? Well, today we're going to explore the 13 signs of a cheap life. That's right, we're going to take a deep dive into the world of penny pinching and discover the telltale signs that someone is living a frugal lifestyle. Now, don't get us wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being financially responsible and making smart choices with your money. However, there's a fine line between being frugal and being downright cheap. We're talking about the kind of people who refuse to spend a single extra penny if they can help it, even if it means sacrificing their own comfort or well-being. So, get ready to laugh, cringe, and maybe even recognize a few of these signs in yourself or someone you know. Whether you're a bargain hunter or a big spender, this video is sure to give you some food for thought. So, let's get started and see if you're living a cheap life. 1. Lack of investment in personal growth and development. One of the most obvious signs of a cheap life is a lack of investment in personal growth and development. Now, we're not just talking about enrolling in expensive courses or hiring personal coaches, although those things can certainly be beneficial. We're talking about a general attitude of apathy towards self-improvement, a reluctance to try new things, and a lack of curiosity about the world. People who live a cheap life often have a good enough mentality. They're content with just getting by, and they don't see the value in investing time or money into themselves. They may be resistant to change or afraid of failure, which can keep them stuck in their comfort zone and prevent them from reaching their full potential. But here's the thing. Personal growth and development don't have to be expensive or time-consuming. It can be as simple as reading a book, trying a new hobby, or taking an online course. These small investments can pay off in a big way by expanding your knowledge, skills, and perspective. On the flip side, neglecting personal growth can have serious consequences. It can lead to stagnation, boredom, and a lack of fulfillment in life. It can also limit your opportunities and prevent you from achieving your goals. So, if you find yourself resisting opportunities for personal growth, ask yourself why. Are you afraid of failure? Do you think you're too busy or too old to learn something new? Chances are, these are just limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Remember, investing in yourself is one of the best things you can do for your future. Don't let a cheap mentality hold you back from reaching your full potential. Take that class, read that book, or try that new hobby. You never know where it might lead you. 2. Constantly looking for discounts and deals. The thrill of the bargain hunt. For some people, there's nothing quite like the rush of finding a good deal. They'll scour the internet, clip coupons, and hit up every thrift store and garage sale in the area, all in the name of saving a few bucks. But when does frugality cross the line into cheapness? One telltale sign is when someone is constantly looking for discounts and deals, even to the point of obsession. You know the type. The person who spends hours scrolling through online shopping sites, hunting for the perfect coupon code or flash sale. They'll drive across town to save a few cents on gas, or hoard a dozen expired coupons just in case they might come in handy someday. They may even go so far as to haggle with cashiers or try to negotiate prices with sellers, all in an effort to save a few dollars. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with trying to save money, of course. In fact, it's a smart move to be aware of sales and discounts, and to take advantage of them when they're available. However, when the quest for savings becomes an all-consuming obsession, it can lead to some pretty ridiculous behavior. For example, have you ever heard of extreme couponing? It's a trend that gained popularity a few years ago, thanks in part to a reality TV show of the same name. The basic idea is to use coupons, rebates, and other discounts to buy as much stuff as possible for as little money as possible. And we're not talking about a few cans of soup or boxes of cereal. We're talking about entire shopping carts filled to the brim with hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise. While it may seem impressive to get $1,000 worth of groceries for only $50, there are some downsides to this kind of extreme frugality. For one thing, it takes a lot of time and effort to collect and organize all those coupons. It also requires a certain amount of skill to know how to use them effectively and avoid getting scammed. And finally, it can lead to some pretty wasteful behavior. After all, do you really need 50 tubes of toothpaste or 100 boxes of crackers? So, while there's nothing wrong with being a savvy shopper, it's important to remember that there are limits to how far you should go in the pursuit of savings. It's okay to splurge once in a while, or to pay full price for something that you really want or need. And who knows, maybe you'll find that the best things in life aren't always the cheapest ones. 3. Always buying the cheapest option available, regardless of quality. The old adage, you get what you pay for, it's a saying that's been around for ages, yet somehow, there are still people out there who refuse to heed its warning. These are the folks who always buy the cheapest option available, regardless of quality. You know the type. They're the ones who buy the $1 flip-flops instead of investing in a quality pair of sandals, or the people who choose the bargain bin pasta sauce instead of the premium brand. Now, we get it. Saving money is important, and nobody wants to pay more than they have to for something. But here's the thing, when you always buy the cheapest option, you're often sacrificing quality, durability, and even safety. Let's take a look at a few examples, shall we? First up, we have electronics. Sure, you could buy that knockoff smartphone for a fraction of the price of an iPhone, but what happens when it breaks or malfunctions after a few months? You'll end up spending even more money trying to fix or replace it. And don't even get us started on the potential safety hazards of cheap, off-brand chargers or batteries. Next, let's talk about clothing. Yes, you can find t-shirts for $5 or less, but chances are they'll fall apart after a few washes or lose their shape after one wear. Investing in quality clothing may cost more upfront, but in the long run, you'll save money by not having to constantly replace your wardrobe. And then there's food. We all love a good deal, but when it comes to groceries, choosing the cheapest option often means sacrificing taste, nutrition, and even safety. Cheap, processed foods may be easy on the wallet, but they're often loaded with unhealthy ingredients and preservatives. Plus, the potential health risks of eating contaminated or expired food just aren't worth the savings. At the end of the day, buying the cheapest option available may seem like a smart financial decision in the moment, but it often ends up costing you more in the long run. So, the next time you're tempted to skimp on quality in the name of saving a few bucks, think twice. Your wallet, and your health, will thank you in the end. 4. Refusing to spend money on experiences or travel. The joys of travel, the thrill of discovering new cultures, trying new foods, and making unforgettable memories. For most people, traveling is a way to broaden their horizons and enrich their lives. But for some, the mere thought of spending money on travel is enough to make them break out in a cold sweat. That's right, we're talking about people who refuse to spend money on experiences or travel, even if it means missing out on once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Now, don't get us wrong, we understand that travel can be expensive. But for those who refuse to invest in travel, it's not just a matter of money. It's a mindset. These are the people who would rather stay home and watch TV than explore the world around them. They might justify their decision by saying they're being responsible with their money, but in reality, they're missing out on some of the most incredible experiences life has to offer. Think about it. When was the last time you tried something new? Went on an adventure, met someone from a different country or culture? These are the kinds of experiences that shape us as individuals and give our lives meaning. By refusing to spend money on travel, you're depriving yourself of these experiences and limiting your personal growth. But it's not just about personal growth, there are tangible benefits to travel as well. Studies have shown that travel can improve our mental health, boost our creativity, and even strengthen our immune systems. So, by refusing to spend money on travel, you're not just missing out on fun experiences, you're potentially putting your health at risk. We understand that travel isn't for everyone. Maybe you're someone who's perfectly content staying close to home, and that's okay. But if you're someone who's been dreaming of exploring the world, don't let the fear of spending money hold you back. There are plenty of ways to travel on a budget, from staying in hostels to booking flights in advance. And the memories and experiences you'll gain from those travels will be worth far more than any amount of money. So, if you're someone who's been on the fence about traveling, we encourage you to take the plunge. Don't let a fear of spending money hold you back from experiencing all the world has to offer. After all, as Mark Twain once said, 20 years from now you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did do. 5. Hoarding items instead of replacing or upgrading them. We all have our favorite things, whether it's a cozy old sweater, a trusty pair of shoes, or that one kitchen gadget that never fails to make us smile. But what happens when we become a little too attached to our belongings? When we start hoarding items instead of replacing or upgrading them, we might be crossing the line into a cheap life. Let's paint a picture. You're in your living room, surrounded by stacks of old magazines, piles of worn-out clothing, and a collection of gadgets that have long since stopped working. You know you should probably clean up a bit, but you just can't bear to part with any of these things. After all, they've been with you for so long, they're practically a part of the family. But here's the thing, hoarding items can actually have some serious consequences. For one, it can make your home feel cluttered, chaotic, and downright stressful. It's hard to relax when you're constantly surrounded by piles of stuff, and it can even be dangerous if items start to pile up to the point of blocking pathways or creating fire hazards. But more than that, hoarding items instead of replacing or upgrading them can be a sign of a cheap life. Think about it. If you're holding onto that ratty old t-shirt instead of investing in a new one, you're essentially valuing the short-term savings over your own comfort and appearance. The same goes for that outdated smartphone, that rusty old bike, or that broken kitchen appliance. We're not saying you need to go out and replace everything you own every year. But there's a difference between holding on to things that are sentimental or still have some use, and clinging to items that are clearly past their prime. Upgrading your possessions can actually be a way to improve your quality of life, whether it's by investing in more comfortable furniture, buying healthier food options, or treating yourself to a new piece of technology that makes your life easier. So, if you're finding yourself surrounded by clutter and struggling to let go of items that have long outlived their usefulness, it might be time to take a step back and reassess your priorities. Remember, investing in yourself and your comfort is never a waste of money, and sometimes, getting rid of the old can make room for some exciting new possibilities. 6. Shallow relationships. Now, when we talk about shallow relationships, we're not just talking about casual acquaintances or superficial small talk. We're talking about a complete lack of meaningful connections with others. People who live a cheap life often prioritize saving money above all else, including investing in relationships and cultivating friendships. They might avoid social events that require spending money, refuse to give gifts or attend special occasions, or simply withdraw from social situations altogether. But why is this such a problem? Well, for one thing, research has shown that social connection is a crucial factor in our overall health and well-being. In fact, a lack of social support has been linked to a range of negative health outcomes, including depression, anxiety, and even an increased risk of heart disease. So, by neglecting our relationships in the pursuit of financial gain, we may actually be sacrificing our own health and happiness in the long run. But beyond the health implications, shallow relationships can also lead to a sense of loneliness and isolation. Humans are social creatures by nature, and we thrive when we feel connected to others. When we prioritize money over relationships, we may find ourselves feeling disconnected from our communities, lacking a sense of purpose or belonging, and ultimately feeling unfulfilled in life. So, what can we do to avoid falling into the trap of shallow relationships? First and foremost, it's important to recognize the value of genuine human connection. While it's certainly okay to be frugal and budget conscious, we should never let financial concerns completely override our desire for connection with others. We can prioritize relationships by making time for social events, reaching out to friends and family, and investing in meaningful experiences together. By doing so, we'll not only improve our own health and happiness, but we'll also be enriching the lives of those around us. 7. Ignoring basic hygiene and grooming practices. Unfortunately, Some people take the concept of saving money to the extreme and end up neglecting basic hygiene and grooming practices. And let's be honest, it's not just unappealing, it can actually be downright gross. We're talking about the kind of people who refuse to buy new underwear until the old ones are practically disintegrating, or who go days without showering because they don't want to waste money on water and soap. They might wear the same clothes for days on end, neglect to brush their teeth, or skip deodorant altogether. And while it might seem like a harmless way to save a few bucks, it can actually have some pretty serious consequences. First and foremost, neglecting basic hygiene can lead to some unpleasant body odors and unsightly skin conditions. Let's be real, no one wants to be around someone who smells like they haven't showered in a week. Plus, not taking care of your skin and teeth can lead to acne, cavities, and other health issues that can end up costing you more money in the long run. But beyond the physical consequences, neglecting hygiene and grooming can also have a negative impact on your mental health and self-esteem. When you don't feel clean and put together, it can be hard to feel confident and comfortable in your own skin. Plus, if you're constantly worrying about your own odor or appearance, it can be difficult to focus on anything else. So, what's the solution? It's simple. Prioritize your hygiene and grooming practices, even if it means spending a few extra bucks. Invest in some quality soap, shampoo, and deodorant, and make sure to use them regularly. Buy new underwear and clothes when the old ones are starting to wear out, and don't be afraid to splurge on a haircut or manicure once in a while. Trust us, your body, and your nose, will thank you. 8. Refusing to donate to charity or give back to the community. When it comes to living a cheap life, there are few things more telling than someone who refuses to donate to charity or give back to their community. Now, we're not talking about people who may not have the financial means to make large donations. We're talking about those who have the means but simply choose not to give. There are a few different reasons someone might fall into this category. For some, it may be a matter of mistrust. They're not sure where their money is going or how it's being used, so they'd rather keep it for themselves. Others might feel like they've worked hard for their money and don't want to give it away to people they feel haven't put in the same effort. And of course, there are always those who are simply selfish and don't want to part with their cash. But here's the thing, donating to charity or giving back to your community doesn't just benefit those in need. It can also be incredibly fulfilling for the giver. Studies have shown that people who give back to their communities are happier, more fulfilled, and experience less stress and anxiety than those who don't. Plus, there are so many ways to give that don't involve writing a check. You can volunteer your time at a local food bank or homeless shelter, participate in a charity walk or run, or donate items you no longer need to a thrift store or homeless shelter. Even small acts of kindness, like buying a coffee for the person behind you in line, can make a big difference in someone's day. So, the next time you're tempted to keep your money to yourself, consider the benefits of giving back. Not only will you be helping those in need, but you'll also be doing yourself a favor in the process. After all, isn't it true that it's better to give than to receive? 9. Constantly complaining about the cost of things. The age-old complaint of the chronically cheap, that's too expensive. We all know someone like this, who seems to have a never-ending stream of gripes about the cost of everything from groceries to gas to gifts. But is this really a sign of financial savvy, or just plain miserliness? Let's take a closer look at what's behind this common complaint. On the surface, it might seem like these people are just trying to save a few bucks here and there. But in reality, the constant complaining can have a much deeper impact on their quality of life and relationships. For starters, nobody likes a complainer. If you're constantly griping about how expensive everything is, you're likely to wear out your welcome pretty quickly. People will start to avoid inviting you to social events or outings, knowing that you'll only complain about the cost of everything. But even more importantly, this kind of mindset can actually hold you back financially. By focusing solely on the price tag of everything, you might be missing out on opportunities to invest in yourself or your future. For example, let's say you're offered a job that pays slightly less than your current one, but offers better benefits and more opportunities for advancement. If you're solely focused on the paycheck, you might turn it down without realizing the long-term benefits. Similarly, if you're constantly complaining about the cost of healthy food or gym memberships, you might be putting your health and well-being at risk. Sure, it might be cheaper to eat junk food or skip the gym altogether, but the long-term costs of poor health can far outweigh the short-term savings. So, the next time you find yourself complaining about the cost of something, take a step back and ask yourself, is this really worth getting upset about? Could I be missing out on something valuable by focusing solely on the price tag? By shifting your mindset from one of cheapness to one of value, you might just find that your quality of life improves in ways you never thought possible. 10. Being reluctant to spend money on healthcare or preventative measures. Being reluctant to spend money on healthcare or preventative measures can be one of the most dangerous signs of a cheap life. It's no secret that healthcare costs can be exorbitant, and it's understandable that many people want to avoid them whenever possible. However, neglecting your health in the long run can lead to much more serious and costly consequences. One common manifestation of this sign is avoiding preventative measures, such as regular checkups, vaccinations, or screenings. For example, someone living a cheap life may skip their annual physical exam, thinking it's not worth the cost. They may not invest in proper nutrition or exercise, thinking that healthy habits aren't worth the investment. This mentality can be especially risky when it comes to mental health. Many people who are living a cheap life may be hesitant to seek therapy or counseling, thinking it's too expensive or unnecessary. However, mental health is just as important as physical health, and ignoring warning signs or symptoms can lead to long-term consequences. Another danger of being reluctant to spend money on healthcare is that minor issues can easily become major problems. For example, someone who refuses to get their toothache checked out may end up needing an expensive root canal or even losing the tooth altogether. Similarly, someone who ignores a small lump or bump may end up facing much more serious health issues down the road. In short, being reluctant to spend money on healthcare or preventative measures can be a slippery slope. While it's understandable to want to avoid costly medical bills, neglecting your health can lead to much more serious and expensive consequences in the long run. So, the next time you're tempted to skip that doctor's appointment or avoid preventative measures, remember that investing in your health is one of the most important investments you can make in yourself. 11. Not investing in relationships or friendships. This is one of the most significant signs of a cheap life, and it's also one of the saddest. Friends and family are essential parts of our lives, and neglecting these relationships can lead to a lonely and unfulfilling existence. People who live a cheap life tend to shy away from social gatherings, preferring to stay at home and avoid spending money. They may also refuse to buy gifts for their loved ones or offer to pay for a round of drinks at a bar. While it's understandable to want to save money, being stingy with your time and resources can cause irreparable damage to relationships. Not investing in friendships can also have a negative impact on your mental health. Humans are social creatures, and we thrive on the connections we make with others. Isolating yourself and refusing to cultivate friendships can lead to feelings of loneliness and depression. It's important to remember that friendships require effort and time. You can't expect to have strong relationships if you're not willing to put in the work. This means reaching out to friends to make plans, remembering important dates like birthdays and anniversaries, and being willing to spend money on activities that strengthen your bond. If you're someone who struggles to invest in friendships, it may be helpful to start small. Invite a friend over for coffee or lunch, or make plans to go for a walk together. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have meaningful interactions with the people in your life. In the end, investing in relationships and friendships is one of the most rewarding things you can do. Having people in your life who love and support you can make all the difference, both in good times and bad. So, don't let a cheap mindset get in the way of your relationships. Take the time to nurture your connections, and you'll find that the benefits are priceless. 12. Eating cheap, unhealthy food instead of nutritious options. When it comes to food, some people seem to have the uncanny ability to stretch a dollar further than a rubber band. They know all the tricks for getting the most calories for the least amount of money, and they're not afraid to sacrifice nutrition for a good deal. But what are the real consequences of eating cheap, unhealthy food instead of nutritious options? First of all, let's talk about what we mean by cheap, unhealthy food. We're talking about fast food, processed snacks, and anything that comes in a package with a long list of unpronounceable ingredients. Sure, these foods might be cheap and convenient, but they're also loaded with sugar, salt, and saturated fat. They offer little in the way of actual nutrition and can actually harm your health in the long run. But why do some people choose to eat this way? For some, it's a matter of convenience. They're too busy to cook or don't know how to prepare healthy meals, so they turn to fast food and pre-packaged snacks. For others, it's a matter of cost. Healthy foods like fresh produce and lean protein can be expensive, especially if you're on a tight budget. However, the truth is that eating cheap, unhealthy food can actually end up costing you more in the long run. Sure, that value meal from your favorite fast food joint might seem like a steal, but the long-term health consequences can be devastating. Obesity, heart disease, and diabetes are just a few of the health issues that can result from a diet high in processed foods. Not only that, but cheap, unhealthy food can also impact your mental health. Studies have shown that a diet high in sugar and saturated fat can contribute to depression and anxiety. So, not only are you sacrificing your physical health, but your mental well-being as well. So, what's the solution? Well, it's not as difficult as you might think. With a little bit of planning and preparation, it's possible to eat healthy on a budget. You don't have to buy all organic, grass-fed, locally sourced foods, although that's certainly an option if it's within your means. Instead, focus on incorporating more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins into your diet. Buy in bulk, shop for sales, and consider meal prepping to save time and money. 13. Lack personal values and morals. Some signs that someone may be lacking in personal values and morals: cheating or cutting corners to get ahead, whether it's cheating on a test, lying on a job application, or taking advantage of someone for personal gain. These actions show a lack of integrity and respect for others. Justifying unethical behavior. When someone makes excuses for their actions instead of taking responsibility for them, it can be a sign that they don't have a strong moral compass. Disrespecting others. Treating people poorly, making fun of them, or disregarding their feelings can all be signs of a lack of empathy and respect for others. Blaming others for their problems. When someone refuses to take responsibility for their actions or blames others for their own mistakes, it can be a sign that they lack accountability and honesty. Ignoring social responsibility. Failing to acknowledge or care about social issues, such as environmental concerns or inequality, can show a lack of compassion and empathy for the world around them. When someone lacks personal values and morals, it can have a negative impact on their relationships and their overall quality of life. It's important to remember that money isn't everything, and that being a good person is more important than any amount of wealth or possessions. And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this video on the 13 signs of a cheap life. We've covered a lot of ground today, from personal growth and development to eating habits and beyond. Before we go, we want to leave you with a few key takeaways. First of all, there's nothing inherently wrong with being frugal or saving money. However, it's important to be aware of the signs of a cheap life and to recognize when your frugality is actually doing more harm than good. Secondly, investing in yourself and your quality of life is always worth it. Whether it's taking a class, traveling to a new place, or simply buying a high-quality product that will last longer, remember that you deserve to live well and be comfortable. Finally, remember that living a happy, fulfilling life isn't just about money. While financial stability is certainly important, it's also crucial to invest in your relationships, your mental and physical health, and your personal growth and development. We hope this video has given you some food for thought and helped you think more critically about your own lifestyle and spending habits. As always, thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe to Financial Literacy for more great content.